I'm inside a plane shipping fab equipment. This is insane. Keep watching to find out more. On this channel, we cover the latest and greatest in silicon and semiconductor manufacturing. Some of that is at the components end, the chips and the ASICs that we use in our laptops and in AI. And the other is the latest research coming into the factory that physically makes the chips. Now, I was lucky enough to recently visit Intel's latest upgrade, a high-NA extreme ultraviolet machine, EUV, which costs $350 million and is made by Dutch company ASML. Now, ASML ships 40 of those regular machines each year, as well as hundreds of others. And on top of that, there are many other hardware suppliers shipping equipment around the world, such as Applied Materials, Tokyo Electron, ASM, Nikon, ASE, and others. What I hadn't put together is exactly how those tools are shipped around the world. When a machine weighs several hundred kilos and individual components can cost millions of dollars, it's a bit more complex than an Amazon delivery driver showing up at your front door. Now, this is what we call freight. In the world of semiconductor freight, whether that's capital fab equipment or chips, it's a global market onto itself. Now, in this shot in partnership with Kuehne+Nagel, I'll take you through what it takes to create a global freight supply chain for the most complex fab equipment in the world.
What's your minimum specification?
You find me here at Taipei Airport. Now, it's a popular destination for delivering fab tools before they get sent via trucks down to TSMC or UMC and the other chip fab companies that they have here. And air freight is one of the most important ways to move equipment around the world. Whenever we see videos of equipment being delivered, it's usually at the end as it rolls into the fab and it gets delivered by truck. But machines are built in many places and are often shipped thousands of miles before they get on that truck. If you're like me, the usual companies you would deal with when delivering new motherboards or chips, or typically any of the main 3 to 5 letter carriers, they're designed to handle most materials, like the latest equipment of clothing and books. But what I've been learning about is how different the semiconductor supply chain is to your regular shipment paradigm. Now, when we're printing features on chips the size of nanometers, the equipment is delicate. Even though it will be calibrated when it's installed, devices with tens of thousands of components shipped across multiple containers have to remain secure and intact before they go between continents. You can't rely on the standard shipping companies, and as a result, dedicated services for delivering equipment have to be established. And the one I've been learning about is this Semiconductor from Kuehne+Nagel. This aircraft here is their Inspire plane, a 747-800, one of the last to ever be made, but it's a dedicated leased equipment built to handle components and fab equipment. Right now, it's delivering hardware from Amsterdam to Taipei. Unfortunately, they can't tell us what it is or who it's for, but your best guess might be correct. The service here is built upon layers. Sure, you have the plane, but the nature of capital equipment requires an end-to-end solution. It starts by building dedicated freight hubs around the world, what they call Semiconductor certified centers. The first center was in Amsterdam, but since expanded to over dozens of sites around the world, and in all the places you likely expect. Each hub has a trained team. You can probably see some of them behind me. A team that's specifically trained to work with shipping delicate fab tools, handling the cargo, and going above and beyond just general shipping certification. Now, training a team is actually a 35-step process. It takes 6 months, and that certification only lasts 2 years before you have to retrain. It's a model that Kuehne+Nagel, as a freight company, has applied to a number of industries, such as healthcare or controlled substances. But with semiconductors, it takes additional care, given the nature of the complexity and value of what's on hand. Each stage of the shipping process is monitored through a system of custom software. This is more than just logging when it goes in the warehouse and where it lands, but includes access to physical monitoring sensors, a digital checklist, and tracking for each handover, and then full reports for the customers in that end-to-end solution. It's all about risk mitigation. We're talking temperature effects, delays, potential security risks, the logistics, and even the weather. It's been threatening to rain today, and how to minimize those from start to finish. One of the big questions you probably have is about vibration and motion. These machines are so accurate, and yet whether you're putting them on a truck, on a boat, or an airplane, you can't really mitigate vibration and motion, can you? Well, depending on the equipment supplier, the containers used come with vibration dampening technology, as well as the standard off-the-shelf dumb sensors that let people know when equipment has experienced too much of a jolt, or being held at the wrong angle. Even inside the Inspire aircraft, you can feel some of the ways they make sure equipment is handled safely. Even the floor of this plane, has rollers for cargo that have a good amount of stability in the vibration, even for equipment weighing hundreds of kilograms and costing millions of dollars. Now, part of the issue with shipping equipment is timing. It's all very well sending equipment by boat from one side of the world to the other, but if something does need to be replaced, speed can be of the essence. One of the specific points of Semiconductor chain here is simply they offer next-day air freight, using their trained teams and trusted partner ecosystem. A $10 million machine waiting 6 weeks for a $5,000 replacement component would really slow things down, and demand for trusted shipping partners is at an all-time high. Right now, fab equipment is in higher demand than ever. Not only are the major players building out capacity, but it's global as well. We know about Intel's build lots in Ohio, Germany, Oregon, and New Mexico. TSMC is continually building out in Taiwan, also Arizona, Germany, and Japan. Samsung has committed to multiple new fabs in the USA worth billions of dollars. And it's not just leading edge, but trailing edge capacity is in high demand too. There is an increasing importance for the secure supply chain, especially in the USA, making build out in the States a key priority for these companies, which also puts high demand on the equipment to fill the fab. Kuehne+Nagel told me they ship 2 million tons of freight across all markets per year. Semiconductor supply chain is becoming a bigger part of that pie every year. In 2024, they're expecting to nearly double the shipments compared to 2023. This means building up more trusted hubs, and they already sell in the US close to where the fabs are today. That means Austin, San Francisco, New York, Boston, Phoenix, Chicago, Dallas, and places like Seattle and Miami, which have the facilities to enable larger planes to deliver complex cargo before being driven to the installation site. I had a chance to sit down with the person behind this capability to drive security and fab equipment deliveries, Barry O'Dowd, and why semiconductor logistics like this requires a finer touch.
Well, we use the chain terminology to identify where we have deployed something special.
This is the Kuehne+Nagel
Absolutely.
terminology chain.
Absolutely. And when we apply the chain terminology, it means that we have done something above and beyond to make sure that we are providing a specialist solution. In terms of the semiconductor industry, it meant that we had to undertake a significant training program with all of our people to make sure that they're trained in the semiconductor industry and all of the requirements of our customers. We had to come up with specialist documentation to make sure that our operating procedures are the same across our network. And we audited all of our contractors, all of our partners that we work with, to make sure that they understand what our customers are looking for and that we can deliver something that's solid and of high quality to our customers. By doing all of that together, we have then gone out and audited all of the sites to make sure that everything has been done as we designed it to do. And that's what gives our customers the comfort in the knowledge that the quality that they're looking for can be delivered by Kuehne+Nagel when they're using a Semiconductor chain solution. Well, we've deployed 10 Semiconductor chain sites across the US, and the reason we've done so is quite simple. It's to be able to deal with the growth of the semicon industry across the US. You have your key airport locations where equipment comes in and goes out. We have to be there, obviously, but we also have to be close by where the customers are. You mentioned some of the locations that are key, but in addition, there's also investments in upstate New York, etc. So there's going to be quite a significant amount of development across North America. And as far as I understand it, the full CHIPS Act budget is still not spent. there's still another 20 billion or so to be allocated out to support the semicon industry in North America. And with the growth that has already come out from the announcements that have been made already, if that's going to go up by nearly a factor of 2 again, there'll be a lot more business and a lot more development to be expected. We want to make sure that we have the network across the US to be able to support that. No, well, risk mitigation can be done in a number of different ways. One way that we do risk mitigation is to ensure that everybody involved in the supply chain collaborates together using a digital tool that we have developed to identify where the weaknesses are, where they're handling product. And in case those weaknesses become apparent, in case something happens, what the alternatives are in order to ensure that the goods can be handled correctly and our customer service will not be impacted. By developing a tool that brings everybody together, it enables our customers to be able to identify how resilient their supply chain is. You know, how stable and how stable it is from point A to point B with all of the different actors that are involved in that complex movement. That's a key element of resilience that enables us to support our customers in what they need. For finished goods, well, finished goods can be very attractive to criminal elements. And when goods are attractive to criminal elements, then we need to make sure that we take the appropriate measures to reduce the risk, to reduce the fact that they will be known widely what's being shipped. And when it's being shipped, it's being handled by people who know how to handle goods that are sensitive, who don't do silly things like stopping the truck in a risky area to take a break, by parking in secure areas, etc., etc.
Now, I sometimes boast about all my trips to fabs that I've done. In the videos on this channel, you've seen me alongside rows and rows and rows and rows of lithography machines, etchers, cleaners, metrology, and wafers upon wafers upon wafers upon wafers. We're talking millions of square feet of clean room, as densely packed as possible. Per square foot is some of the most expensive facilities in the world. But it never occurred to me to think about how the stuff got there. I just assumed planes and trucks, but never the detail needed to ensure a smooth operation at speed and with the right sort of methodology just in case a replacement part is needed. If ever there's a manufacturing industry that quantifies downtime in millions of dollars, either due to natural disaster or installation tuning, it's this one. Many thanks to Kuehne+Nagel for sponsoring this video. I've had a great fun time here inside the aircraft with the team, learning exactly how semiconductor fab equipment is shipped globally and what a precise touch it needs. If you need to ship a piece of fab equipment around the world, there's going to be a link in the comments. Don't forget to check that one out.